It's been another deadly day in Iraq. Next on the KUSI News at 6, a suicide truck bomb rocks Baghdad, and some of the more than 100 victims have local ties.
Plus, what seems to be a homemade explosive device explodes in Central Park, injuring a young man. We'll tell you what police are saying.
And another day of large crowds and heavy traffic at the beach. We'll show you what to expect if that's in your plans tomorrow.
I'm Michael Turco. No more excuses. If you need an American flag to put on your house for the 4th of July, now you can get one for free from a man you've met before, right here on KUSI's Turco Files.
And the flags are flying, and the weather is beautiful. Top-notch weather right now for this July 4th weekend. How long will it last? I'll have your forecast in a moment. The KUSI News at 6 starts now.
This is the KUSI News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm David Davis.
And I'm Ashley Rodriguez. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been a weekend full of explosives and deadly terror attacks.
Yeah, it began early yesterday morning at an upscale cafe in Bangladesh where 22 people were killed, dozens more hurt, and continued today with a deadly car bombing in Iraq. And that is where we begin our coverage, in Baghdad, where more than 100 people have been killed. KUSI's John Soderman joins us live from the Embarcadero with the latest on the story.
You know, these bombings in Iraq are just totally mind-numbing. There is a San Diego connection to the bombing today. We'll talk about more in a sec, but take a look at this horrific bombing today. The death toll could exceed 130. There was a total of 2 car bombs. The worst one was in this neighborhood of Karada, which is home to many Shiites, of course. ISIS claiming responsibility. ISIS consists of Sunni extremists who view Shiites as apostates, deserving of death. But this neighborhood where the big one really went off, it was a refrigerator truck packed with explosives. There were also Christians in that neighborhood, which is how we get to the San Diego connection. We talked to Mark Arabo, the local Iraqi Christian leader, and asked him this question literally minutes ago. Mark, talk about the San Diego connections to this horrible bombing.
While we celebrate July 4th weekend with fireworks, Christians in Iraq are fleeing from bombs. San Diegans called me early today, Chaldean Christians, Chaldeans. They've lost their family members in the bombing today. It's a heartbreaking moment. It's a moment that shows that innocent people, innocent Christians, are being massacred, slaughtered because of nothing, because of their faith and because of the sectarian violence. And this sectarian violence needs to stop. And as we Americans celebrate our freedom, Christians, Chaldean Christians in San Diego are mourning for their loved ones.
And check this video out here. This is a video of the Prime Minister of Iraq, Haider al-Abadi, trying to visit the bomb site in Karada, and his motorcade was pelted with rocks and bottles because people in Iraq feel that the government is in no way capable of protecting them. As these bombings become routine, the numbers are literally staggering. So back here live, once again, there is a San Diego connection to this horrible bombing in Iraq, one of the worst in years. Apparently some Chaldean families lost family members in one of the neighborhoods, which was also home to some Christians. At the Embarcadero, John Soderman, KUSI News.
So sad. John, thank you. After the terrorist attack in Dhaka, the people of Bangladesh are observing the first of 2 national days of mourning. Friends and family here in the U.S. are sharing their pain.
We really don't know how to grasp this yet, just because this is so shocking, and no one ever could see it coming.
Shock and sadness for many of the victims' loved ones following Friday night's terrorist attack in Bangladesh's capital. The hours-long hostage situation inside an upscale cafe left 20 captives dead. ISIS claimed responsibility. 3 of the victims attended college in the U.S. Faraz Hossein was from Dhaka and was a junior at Emory's Business School in Atlanta. Abinta Kabir, who was also attending Emory, was visiting family when she was killed. A friend and former teacher of Kabir is still struggling to cope with the reality.
It is so hard to believe that she was there and she was suffering for 10 or 11 hours. I don't even want to think about it. I rather to remember her with that smile that she had.
In a statement, Emory University expresses its condolences, saying it mourns this tragic and senseless loss. Tarishi Jain was a sophomore at University of California at Berkeley and recently started an internship in Dhaka. Authorities say the siege ended early Saturday morning when military commandos moved in, killed 6 of the terrorists, and saved 13 hostages. One attacker was captured alive and is now hospitalized. 2 officers were also killed during the siege.
Unlike previous attacks, the attackers this time were well prepared and heavily armed with guns, bombs, and sharp objects that police later said were used to torture some of the hostages trapped inside.
In Central Park in New York today, a man suffered major injuries when he stepped on an explosive device. Happened this morning when the 18-year-old man from Virginia was walking with friends. Local news stations say the man was taken to a hospital with a possible amputation, and officials say he is in stable condition, undergoing surgery on his left foot. Now, police say the accident is believed to be fireworks related, maybe a homemade device. Part of the park was closed off most of the day for the investigation. Here at home, San Diego police SWAT officers were called to the 200 block of Lakeview Avenue in La Presa this afternoon just before 4 o'clock. They were responding to a domestic violence incident. 36-year-old Albert Escobedo allegedly assaulted a woman in the home before locking himself in a closet. A canine unit found him, and he was quickly taken into custody. Nobody was hurt. No word on what charges he may be facing. And firefighters have the upper hand on an East County brush fire that still has both directions of Highway 94 closed east of Hamul. Air and ground crews are battling the fire that has now grown to 27 acres. It started when a motorcycle crashed off the side of the road. There are no threats to any structures, no evacuations orders. We were told about an hour ago firefighters have stopped its spread.
The body of a man was found in the Morena district this morning, and police say he was set on fire. Fire crews and police were putting out a trash fire between the northbound 5 freeway and the train tracks right after 8 o'clock when they found the burnt man. It's unknown if he was dead before or after being set on fire. Investigators say someone was seen running from the area with a gas can.
There was a male seen running southbound just after the calls came in, southbound on the tracks, and ultimately this male ran across the freeway. So we definitely want to talk to that individual. This time he's a person of interest, not actually considered a suspect. However, we do want to talk to that individual.
That person of interest is now considered a suspect. He's described as a white man between 30 and 50 years old, wearing a brown jacket, baseball cap, and carrying a backpack. This is a Crime Stoppers case. A Mission Valley Hotel's high-rise was nearly set on fire earlier today. A fire started in a large construction-sized dumpster before spreading to a construction site scaffolding. This at the Town and Country Resort and Convention Center shortly before 11 this morning. Firefighters were able to extinguish the fire in about 20 minutes. No injuries were reported, and the cause of the fire is under investigation.
A limo driver is recovering this evening after being shot in an early morning attack. The 32-year-old driver was dropping off passengers at 40th and Teak Streets in Mountain View just after 2 a.m. That's when a man walked up to his limo and opened fire with a shotgun. The driver was hit in the left arm and suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The shooter ran from the scene. No known motive at this point. San Diego police gang detectives are investigating. At the halfway point through the 4th of July weekend, the number of DUI arrests was down from last year. CHP says its officers arrested 42 drivers suspected of DUI from 6 p.m. Friday until 6 this morning. That's down 5 arrests from 2015. Statewide, there have been 673 drunk driving arrests, which is also down from more than 800 last year. There have been no traffic fatalities in San Diego County so far, but California as a state has seen 12 traffic-related deaths, down from 18 last year.
Well, with a ton of events going on this holiday weekend, MTS is increasing its service. All 3 trolley lines will depart all stations a minimum of every 15 minutes. The Green Line will increase to every 7.5 minutes between Qualcomm Stadium and Petco Park. MTS says to travel early and plan ahead of time.
The message is travel early. You can park at Qualcomm Stadium, got 5,000 seats out there. Download your MTS M-Ticket app on your phone and buy your tickets right now. But we'll have lots of service out there. Just go to Qualcomm or any one of our other parking spots and we'll have service at least every 15 minutes, in some cases every 7.5 minutes.
To see the full schedule, visit our website at KUSI.com.
It's been another busy day at our beaches to follow a very crowded Saturday. Lifeguards estimated that 155,000 beachgoers flocked to the shore on Saturday, and that's just City of San Diego beaches. That's not the state beaches. That's not Imperial Beach and some of the other towns. Lifeguards made 28 rescues and responded to 72 medical aid calls throughout the day.
If you're coming out to the ocean front, be sure to find a location that you're close to a lifeguard, especially if you're not familiar with the area. At any time, you can approach any lifeguard to ask any question about the conditions and general tips. No alcohol on the beaches, no glass on the beaches. Dogs only allowed between before 9 and after 6. You must be on a leash at those times as well.
And the lifeguards say you ain't seen nothing yet. Crowds are expected to be even bigger tomorrow. They suggest you arrive early to get a parking space. And we haven't even brought up the fair that brings in another 100,000 plus every day.
Very popular.
To the shoreline. Yeah. And tomorrow's the last day for the fair.
Last day. And lucky for those folks that are going out, the weather's going to be beautiful. Let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Dave Scott. He's got details of our absolutely beautiful 4th of July forecast.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, I mean, the fair is going to be open until just about midnight tomorrow night. It's going to be packed, and you were talking about all the people that go there. Well, over 1 million during parts of the summer, and it's just absolutely incredible crowds expected tomorrow. So get there early, have fun, and just kind of hang out into the evening and wait for some of the traffic to die down. It will be something. Tomorrow is the last day, and they'll, of course, celebrate with some fireworks as well. A lot of places are going to be doing that in San Diego. Well, David and Ashley were talking about the beaches. They have been packed. This is Oceanside earlier on today. David Branch sending this in. Look at all the people, the water's edge, and look at all the nice umbrellas and tents set up there. This is a shot from looking from the pier. Old Town, he was out there as well and sends this in. So it's not just the beach areas, but inland valleys have a lot of fun stuff. And of course, once you get to Old Town, that is such a beautiful place to spend the day. La Jolla as well, nice right now. It cleared out from the beaches today, but it took quite a while. It took about till at least noon, 1 o'clock before we started to see the marine layer kind of break. That'll be the case again tomorrow. May just get a little bit earlier. But still, you're going to have to be a little patient out there. Palomar Mountain Southwest views, sunshine all the way out, but the coastal clouds were just a little bit stubborn today. So La Jolla, Poway, looking good. Borrego Springs, some blue sky in Mount Laguna, and a very nice evening right now. It was nice all the way to the desert Southwest in California. Once you get past the coastal areas, a lot of sunshine. Temperatures were nice and mild because we have this nice airflow coming in from the Pacific. Nice little trough, and then the clouds backing away, and that's what we're seeing now. 71 degrees for a high at Lindbergh Field, and that's a little under the 30-year average, which is 74 degrees, nowhere close to the 1981 record at 90 degrees. Low 80s into the inland valleys today, low 70s along the coast, so about that 10-degree difference, and that's normal for this time of the year. 107 in Borrego Springs, 82 in Julian and Mount Laguna, 91 in Campo. Temperatures right now in the 70s, so we've already even cooled down further than we had just a couple of hours ago. Temperatures nice out there currently. We'll have more coming up in just a little while. It is nice out around the coast. It's a popular place to be right now. And of course, I'll have your fireworks weather forecast coming right up.
Dave, how lucky are we to live in San Diego and have this amazing weather? If we were anywhere else, it'd be like 90, triple digits out there. It's July and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So you can expect a beautiful Independence Day, and obviously there's lots going on in the city. You can watch fireworks and barbecue in 70, 80-degree weather. We have a list of all the hot spots if you want to catch those fireworks, starting off in East County in Santee at the Town Center Community Park. They're going to have a patriotic parade around 2:30 in the afternoon, and fireworks are set for 9 in the evening. And if you want to get there early and secure your spot, good news is there's going to be live music. There's going to be a kid fun zone for the little ones, so that's good. Now, at the same exact time, if you go down to the South Bay at the IB Pier, they're going to have a 9 o'clock fireworks show as well. This one's different because the local radio station Kixie will be providing the soundtrack for the fireworks show. It's going to have classic rock. It's going to have patriotic music, which always makes me tear up. I love when the fireworks are coordinated with music. The biggest, absolutely biggest show in town, of course, is the Big Bay Boom. This is when all of the islands coordinate. They're all going to have their own fireworks show. So you got Shelter, Harbor, Embarcadero, Seaport Village, Coronado, all giving us a show. The Embarcadero is the best place to catch the show. From that spot, you're also going to be able to see SeaWorld's fireworks show as well, and IB's fireworks show as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Keep in mind, because this is the biggest show in town, it's going to be nearly impossible, really, to get any parking nearby or far away. You're going to want to either arrive very early or take public transportation. Like we told you earlier, the MTS is providing extra trolleys. So for a complete list of all the fireworks displays in San Diego, visit our website, KUSI.com, and of course our mobile app. We have a list for you. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow. Back to you.
Indeed it is. Thank you so much, Ashley. And some of you, and you know who you are, may be tempted to set off your own fireworks tonight and tomorrow night. But of course, it's not only illegal, it is dangerous. Here's KUSI's Ed Linderman.
This is so simple, it's hard to believe so many people don't grasp it. If you don't use fireworks, which are illegal everywhere in the county, nothing bad can happen to you, your children, or your neighbors if you spark a wildfire. Let's first talk about the latter and the extreme, apparently unprecedented fire danger we're in, both in our rural and urban areas.
One of these devices can put off enough heat to start a wildland and or a interface fire. And we just had the Border 3 fire here in the county that lasted for approximately 5 to 6 days. That fire in normal conditions probably could have been wrapped up in a day or two. But because of the vegetation, because of the drought, we are seeing fire behavior that we have never seen in this county in the past.
Consumer fireworks, so-called safe and sane fireworks, even sparklers, are illegal here. And the fact that some people ignore that, the fine can be as much as $1,000, frustrates fire officials who are more worried than ever about our conditions. Please, they ask, enjoy the professional fireworks shows this 4th of July holiday. Then there's the safety issue for you and your children. The threefold increase in serious burns, third-degree burns, especially among children. Are you an NFL fan? Even if you're not, we have the most famous example of what can happen to adults as well. A personal public service message has just been released involving New York Giants star defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul. On July 4th, a year ago, he mangled his right hand in a fireworks accident.
Keep fireworks away from kids.
Leave professional fireworks to the professionals. If you watch football at all, he's the man with the big white glove on all the time that he can't use his fingers because he's missing 2 of them. And that was something that was 100% preventable.
And something else that worries fire officials this particular year. July 4th is on a Monday. The days before, Saturday and Sunday. You get the idea. At Fire Station 1 downtown, Ed Linderman, KUSI News.
We cannot emphasize this enough, so we have more information for you on how to stay safe tonight and tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're joined by Monica Zek. She's the Public Information Officer from Heartland Fire and Rescue for the city of El Cajon. Obviously, fireworks are illegal in San Diego.
They definitely are.
People still find a way to bring them in, but it's really dangerous if you're going to do that. Go ahead and explain why.
Well, anything with the word fire is unpredictable, so fireworks. And we're right at the border. A lot of people pick up their fireworks from Mexico, and the problem with that is they're very unstable. There's no quality control, and they could go off in your hands or go off anywhere or in your face, and that's the danger, is that you risk really life and limb, aside from your pocketbook, which is all 3, but they're going off in your hands, so you're losing fingers, losing hands, like you saw that football player in the last story, but a gentleman just in the last couple of days in Chicago, a barber by trade, and he blew off his hand.
Oh my goodness.
So again, handling these things are so unstable. Leave it to the professionals. You think about your safety and your future, not just for the moment of, woohoo, I'm having a good time, but oh my gosh, what if something happens?
And you think about that with the big fireworks, but it comes right all the way down to the sparkler. When we were kids, we always did sparklers and didn't think that much of it. But when you think about it, they are extremely hot and extremely flammable in these dry conditions.
Well, our clothing is flammable, and even our hair. You know, hairspray in our hair, gel and things. And I tell this when I talk to the kids, how many wear gel in their hair? And they all raise their hand. And but a sparkler, any kind of fireworks and such, you get it close to your hair, and there goes your hair, there goes your clothing, depending on the type of clothing you wear. And I was at a buffet where a woman reached across, and her sleeve was right over a little candle, a little tea light candle, and her sleeve went whoof in an instant because it was a polyester material. Sure. You just never know. So you're playing with something unpredictable, and why risk your life? Why risk your hands and your face and your eyes, and especially that of your children? And you see people hand sparklers to children, and their clothing is very flammable. So again, leave it to the professionals. Go to a fireworks show and think about how to get there. You know, if your plans include alcohol, you plan ahead, because you cannot think rationally under the influence. So you plan for that designated driver, somebody who has no alcohol in their system whatsoever. And then have an emergency call should they end up drinking, because don't take that risk, because more and more parents injure and kill their own children driving out of the influence. When you're looking out for the drunk driver, we're seeing a rash of really terrible, horrible crashes involving drinking, especially wrong-way drivers. And we had the horrible one last May where somebody took out a medical student, in a car and killed 2 of the 5 and seriously injured a 3rd. So again, it's something we're just seeing over and over. And the statistics showing that there's been a reduction in DUIs, 1 is too many. We know better. We shouldn't be out on those roadways under the influence of any alcohol and any other drug.
And 2 weeks ago, I was out there covering the Patero fire, and then we just had the fire in Bakersfield. It's so dry out there. Not only can fireworks set off a fire, but even barbecuing, it can be unsafe. It's so dry. People have to be careful about where their charcoal's going, and flames and sparks.
You'll hear it. That's true. You'll hear in neighborhoods a little fireworks going off because somebody picked up some fireworks. But the grill, as you mentioned, be careful where you're grilling, that it's not under trees, it's not over an eave of a house, it's away from the house, and keep a safe surroundings of at least 3 feet to keep kids away from that. And so there's danger everywhere, but it's just careful planning will make it a nice, safe 4th of July for everyone.
And if you are caught with fireworks, not just shoot them off, but it's illegal to have possession of fireworks, there is a fine, right? It's like a traffic ticket.
It'll
or how
be
does
like
that
a
work?
citation, depending on how much you have. It could be a misdemeanor, it could be a lot higher than that, but in most cases it's a misdemeanor, and that's up to a $1,000 fine, up to 6 months in jail. But if you end up injuring and killing somebody, it's going to be a lot worse. It's a different story. So again, we want everyone to be safe. We don't want to ruin anybody's fun, but just do things safely. In El Cajon, we've got a great fireworks display at Kennedy Park, and it's an alcohol, smoke-free park. Extra law enforcement around to control traffic, so it should be a great time.
I knew if we went long enough, you'd get El Cajon in there somewhere.
Slide that in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank
everyone
you.
just be safe.
Exactly.
Take it
Happy
easy.
4th. Make it safe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, Donald Trump says he's getting close to selecting a running mate. Coming up on the KUSI News at 6, the potential candidates Trump is vetting and when he might make a decision.
And a 100-year-old woman is organizing a group in support of Hillary Clinton. Why some feel it's a surprising move, we'll explain. Stay with us.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary
For one people to dissolve the political
bands which have connected them with another,
and to assume among the powers of the earth
the separate and equal station
to which the laws of nature and the nature's God entitle them.
A decent respect to the opinions of mankind
requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal,
that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights,
that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness,
that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men,
deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed,
that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends,
it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government,
laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form
as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes.
And accordingly, all experience hath shown
that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable
than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design
to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide their guards for their future security.
Welcome back. With the Republican National Convention starting 2 weeks from today, many are wondering who will be presumptive GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump's running mate. Many names have been rumored to have started the vetting process as possible contenders. Trump's former campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, believes Indiana Governor Mike Pence is the right choice.
I do think when you look at Governor Pence, he's the type of person that can help unite the party. Obviously, as you mentioned, he has a number of years of Washington, D.C. experience. He was a part of the leadership there. He's gone back now and served as a chief executive of a very important state, a state that Donald Trump is going to need to win in order to be successful in this election. He's got great relationships with other Republican governors, and he's the type of person that would bring a lot to the ticket.
Other names that are out there for a Trump VP, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich.
Trump is also coming under fire after posting a tweet critical of Hillary Clinton that evoked anti-Semitic stereotypes. The graphic shows Clinton in front of a pile of $100 bills and the words "most corrupt candidate ever" on top of a 6-pointed star, which evokes the Jewish Star of David. Trump added a Fox News poll to the bottom of his image in the original tweet. After much criticism for the first tweet, Trump then tweeted the same graphic with a tweak, a circle instead of the Star of David. The tweet has now been removed from Trump's Twitter page.
As you probably heard, Hillary Clinton spent part of her 4th of July weekend talking with the FBI. Yesterday, she answered questions about the private email server she used for official business while she was Secretary of State. Today, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker said Clinton's interview with the FBI should put an end to the investigation.
This is something that she voluntarily did that last summer she really wanted to do. So I think this is something that's just routine, and we're going to be seeing an investigation closing up. And I think she, like most Americans, wants this thing to be concluded and so we can move beyond it and focus on the real issues of this campaign.
Senator Booker is one of the people rumored as a potential running mate for Clinton.
Republican women voters are organizing, hoping to get support for the opposite party. That's right, they want to see Hillary Clinton in the White House come November. One of those supporters has lived through 2 world wars, the Depression, cures for polio and smallpox, 9/11, the first African-American president, and the digital revolution. At 103 years old, Ruline Steininger is one of those Republican Clinton supporters.
I can't believe that he would be nominated for president of the United States. If he's elected president, it's going to be a national disaster, which we will likely take years to recover from. The only way to stop Trump is to vote for Hillary.
It's awesome that she's politically active. She, along with other Republican women voters, feel the only way to stop Trump is to vote for Clinton.
Wonder how many presidents she's voted for in her lifetime.
Wow, good for
A
her.
few.
When you cast your vote in the November election, you might want to allow some extra time to read the ballot.
Voters will be dealing with what's expected to be the longest ballot ever. KUSI's Steve Bosch shows us why.
Crowded because this year we have an untold number of local measures still in the works that will likely make the ballot, along with 17 state propositions that may reach 21 by the August 12th deadline. To Registrar Michael Vu, this is unprecedented.
It's headed that way. It looks like it is projecting to have the highest number of measures.
There are 17 statewide measures. 7 would amend the state constitution. 9 ask voters to pass new state laws. And there's a referendum to overturn the plastic bag ban. Then add to those the local propositions.
We are anticipating more, not just in the city of San Diego, but also in other jurisdictions, other cities, because they will be participating on the November ballot. In certain cases, we're projecting up to some voters being up to having to vote for up to 35 measures on the ballot, if not more.
The Lilac Hills development near Valley Center, for example, an Encinitas measure, along with Sandag's sales tax and 2 stadium ballot measures. While this will be the longest ballot measure San Diego voters have ever encountered, It includes something we've never encountered.
We are anticipating over 150 pages in the sample ballot pamphlet, and for the ballot itself, we are anticipating if it goes up to even 20 measures on the ballot, that we will, for the very first time, go to a 2-card ballot. So
what that means is we will get 2 19-inch voter cards instead of 1.
So it could be a front and back printed on one card, and then front and back on the second card as well.
This places a huge burden on the registrar's office. Everything will have to be doubled. Storage, vehicles up to 120, and supplies.
If you think about ordering 1.5 million ballots, think of us ordering 3 million ballots now as a result of this, because one ballot equals really 2 cards potentially for the November election.
This is not only a problem for voters and the registrar, it's a problem for proponents of these measures. Typically, only 1 in 3 propositions pass. But with a crowded ballot, any single initiative will find it difficult to compete with the others. Over $500 million will be spent on television ads alone. Now, the longer the ballot, every single proposition gets more no votes. Steve Bosch, KUSI News.
It's an Independence Day tradition in San Diego, started by our very own Michael Turco.
Yeah, it's Turco's effort to make sure as many San Diegans as possible can fly Old Glory. Turco Files, straight ahead. Welcome back. With the 4th of July holiday quickly approaching, can you believe this? The San Diego County Fair's run is about to end.
Already, and with just a day and a half left to enjoy all the rides, exhibits, and delicious treats the fair has to offer, one particular exhibit is helping remind Americans what it's like to be a patriot. It has to do with the events that transpired on 9/11. On Good Morning San Diego, KUSI's Allie Wagner caught up with one of New York City's bravest firefighters that survived America's darkest day.
All three of us were there for the whole incident, and I think we all have a common cause, and I think, you know, especially because tomorrow is the 4th of July, so we really feel that need to resurrect patriotism and to inspire people to, you know, elevate yourself to more of a love of America. And this here gives everybody an opportunity that comes to the fair to kind of connect to that day that they could remember if they were old enough, and for us to share the story with them is if they opened up a history book and voices were talking to them.
Yeah, I remember that day, that's for sure.